Good afternoon, all you guitar peeps out there. Paul Shine here for Washington Music.
And Mark Bartel from Bartel Amplifiers.
Yes, that's right. The Mark Bartel of the Mark Bartel Amplifiers. We are so proud to be a partner with him for these 29 years. I found him wandering the streets of Baltimore, making some of the finest amps I'd ever seen or heard. And fast forward all these years, we wanted to celebrate our Sapphire anniversary, which is this year, 65 years of being the best music store on the planet. We decided to do a celebratory run of amplifiers based on his incredibly popular amps that people pay us and wait 8 months to get. More about that later. So we commissioned them in a beautiful Sapphire tolex with gray grille. Also, it has features that the normal production amps do not have. A boost function, which you'll get to hear, and wowee is it tasty. And anyway, we're very proud to have Mark help us celebrate our 65 years in this business. And part of our success is because of the genius of artists like this, and we're proud to represent. So,
well, thank you so much, Paul.
Sure.
Really appreciate your support.
Sure.
It's been a great 29 years.
It's been a couple of minutes, yep.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm sure our fans at home would like to know about the basic lineup of your fabulous amplifiers, and then what kicks it up a notch going to 11 on the Sapphire anniversary versions you just did. Please explain.
Terrific.
Please explain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all started with Carlos calling me up and saying, let's do something special. And I said, well, let's do something legit. I'm not just going to throw a color on there and make it look, So we took a look at each of these models and saw what we could do that was special. And it wasn't easy because I don't compromise on anything, so it wasn't like, oh, let's throw some great parts in and upgrade because they're already upgraded. So, I mean, just to talk about some of the general things we did to the whole line, we dressed them up in the nice navy blue, and we gave them the full deluxe treatment with the E.C. Collins grill cloth. This grill cloth is meant to replicate the old, the JTM 45 stuff from the real early days, like you see on the old Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
And it's handmade by Eric Collins out in Washington somewhere. And he's kind of like me, he takes it to the limit. He sources the materials, which are apparently the same exact materials that were used originally. And I don't know what his process is, but it's apparently very time consuming because he's got very long lead times. And it's pretty amazing stuff. I mean, sure, it looks cool, obviously. But the real thing is how it shapes the sound tonally. And I know it sounds crazy, but it really does have a profound effect on the way these amps sound.
And that's the thing about Mark, is that everything matters. There's nothing about his amplifier designs going back 29 years where it was like, oh, we're just going to use this. Never, ever is anything like that with this guy, ever.
That's my MO.
It all matters. The inside of his amplifiers look better than the outside of most amplifiers. It's really like that, It reminds me of the underside of an Aston Martin's hood, the new ones they're making, where you could eat off of it. I mean, you look at it and all the braided lines and everything is where it's supposed to be, and you can actually see where all the parts are. That's not easy to do with a V12, but they do it. Anyway, enough about that.
Well, thanks so much, Paul. And that's just because we have a small shop. We got 3 guys. We got a power trio. It's me and Mike and Nate.
Wow.
And everybody's got their job, and everybody does it as best we can.
Like a good power trio, it works.
Yep. Yeah, so we did some aesthetic stuff too. We did the custom art for you guys. Very cool.
Came out beautiful.
Thanks. And I also kind of went back to my sketch pad and worked on the proportions of the trim and everything to give it a little bit of a more distinctive look.
Yeah.
And I really like it. I mean, it's just for you guys this year, but this is kind of what I think they should look like.
And they do. They're right there.
There they are. Yeah. It kind of softens the tweed or the TV front thing. and has its own.
You,
little
please
look.
don't apologize for the TV front thing. Remember, nobody's nostalgic for the past, just for the really ancient past.
So we've got 3 models. It starts with the little 12-watt Sugarland. Now the base model is a standard 6v6 cathode biased output stage, driving Fane A60 12-inch speaker, and a beautiful solid pine cabinet with a solid pine baffle, Sapphire mounting ring. There's a lot that goes into the cabinet to make it give you that big, full resonant sound. And that's all driven by this, what I call the multi-voice preamp, that allows you to morph between a wide range of sounds.
That's the secret sauce right there.
The sparkly kind of Fender sound to a tweed to a kind of a Marshally sound and everything in between. And that's the basic design. Now, what I did special here for the 65th anniversary was I went back to the design board and made it work for EL84 output tubes. And that took a little bit of work because their characteristics are quite different. And I wanted to get everything I could out of those 84s. And we came up with a really cool design because it gives you that thick harmonic structure that you get with 84s. But sometimes an 84 amp can be a little unforgiving, a little bit cold and stiff. And this is not that at all. This, it's full and rich, has all those harmonics, feels great to play. It's just a wonderful little amp.
It reminds me that back in your other amps you built 29 years ago, the original Imperial was able to get a beautiful, smooth, compressed overdrive out of 6v6s. And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And yet you were able to do that because you know too much about this stuff. And then kind of conversely, you were able on this modern design to get a clean, pretty, not too brittle, clean sound out of EL84s. So you did the same trick backwards a different way. And that's, if you'll pardon me saying this, a testament to your genius.
Well, thank you, sir. It sounds like, all you did was throw the 84s in. But no, the whole platform is really optimized to take advantage of what the A84s can do really well, which is they just generate this huge palette of like thick, rich harmonics that you can't quite get out of 6v6s. But you gotta know what you're doing to design a really good EL84 amp. And I put some effort in. I think these turned out really great. I mean, specifically what they do that some EL84 amps can't do is they have this transition from clean into kind of mean and angry into, it's hard to even call it overdriven. It just, the sound gets thicker and more harmonically rich without getting raspy or buzzy. It's just very clean transition all the way through. Really different from 6v6s. And I would compare it to something like, maybe like a train wreck, if you ever played a train wreck express or something. Very much like that, but it gives you the additional flexibility of having the multi-voice preamp. So you can get that kind of behavior on the back end and all those voices on the front. It works out really great. And we're doing it in a combo and a head and cabinet form. And I just think it's terrific. I could build myself one when I get a minute.
Good luck with that.
Now let's move on to the next one. The Starwood is my 28 watter. It's got 2 6L6s cathode biased, driving a Fane A60 12-inch speaker. Same kind of cabinet design philosophy there, where it's solid pine all around, and a whole lot of effort went into voicing the cab to make it have that nice, deep, rich, resonant, natural sound. And again, it's driven by that multi-voice preamp that gives you that whole range of tones. And what we did here different on the 65th is we added a boost switch feature. So it's, some customers have been asking that over the years, can you add a little boost to just kind of kick it up a nice calibrated amount? And that worked out really well. It gives you a little bit extra gain, a little bit extra volume. It's kind of just, it's not going to go from sparkly clean to distorted, but it's going to give you a little extra poke for solos. Real nice.
Not to put a chocolate coating over your ego, but the fact of how subtle and complex your designs are. There's a lot of people that tried to put master volumes on old Marshall plexis and just ruined them because the amp design was not designed to support that sort of feature. It just wasn't thought of. Some things can be done after the fact and some things cannot. The fact that you're able to do that shows that you understood every operating parameter of what makes the circuit behave the way it does. And it was brave of you, even though there was money involved, to say, you know what, I think I can do this. And like usual, lo and behold, you kicked its butt. So that's
well, thank you, Paul.
butt kicking is a specialty of yours. I can see this now.
Thanks. And actually, the master volume is glad you mentioned that, because I should say something about that. That's,
Sure.
like you said, it's a whole different story when you try and tack a master volume onto an amp that wasn't designed for it. But these were really designed as the basis of the design. Was how am I going to make it respond at lower volume, like a cranked amp? So a whole lot of the circuit is devoted to that. The master volume is much different than something you're going to find in a traditional amp, and it's, I think, a lot more effective. Demonstrate here. You can crank it down to 2. You can be playing at the volume of a television set and still get that bloom that you get with a cranked amp. So let me move on to the final model. The Roseland is our 45 watter. That's loaded with 2 606s fixed bias, and that gives you tremolo in addition to all the other features. Tremolo, reverb, it's got the multi-voice preamp, and the combo version of it drives a single Fane A60 and a little bit larger cabinet. It's a nice, fuller, bigger soundstage. But we have a special version here. This is the big one. This is the Roseland with the 212. There's a lot to say about the 212. You want me to give my whole talk on it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, sure. This started last year. There was a guy who was playing in kind of a classic rock band and wanted something for stage work that was a little more punchy and a little louder than he could get out of my 112. So I had been thinking about doing a ported design for a long time, and this is what got me started on it. So it's a vertical 212, closed back, ported, and the port's tuned for those speakers. Those are Fane A60s. Really wonderful speaker. I think it's the best high-powered Alnico out there these days.
Yeah.
And so what's really unusual about this 212 is that I'm using the same general construction that I do on all my other cabinets, which is it's a solid pine cabinet. It's got the solid pine baffle with the Sapphire speaker flange, and so that gives you that kind of instrument grade sound, that real natural quality to it. But in a 212 format with a little more bracing and some design work, it's just more.
Yeah.
It's just more powerful, more punchy. It's got this growl like a 412, and it's a great cabinet. So you pair it with the 45 watt Roseland, and it's surprising how much more volume you get out of that ported 212 than you do out of a combo.
Yeah.
It's Of course, we're not on 11. We're only on 5 here, or 2 actually.
And this amplifier, per our design, and to celebrate our anniversary, it not only goes to 11. If you look at the knob, it says E11, Levin. So this one doesn't just go to 11; it goes to 11.
That's true. That just one of the styling appointments that we did.
That's 1 mole. We thank all of you for watching, all of you who are watching. Mark, thank you so much for coming by and showing these proud creations. We're so proud to have been a part of this and helping us celebrate 65 years of being the best. What better way to do it than with the best? So we look forward to serving you in whatever way we can. And to those of you lucky enough to have one of these fine amplifiers, if you want me to write an apology email to your neighbors, because when you turn it up, they're going to know, I'll be happy to do that. Consider it just part of the package. Anyway, you all have a nice time, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks again.